Testing. Can everyone hear me from the back? Is that good? All right. Thanks everyone for waiting. As usual, we're starting at Malaysian time, but we don't want to drag too long. There are some people who came all the way from Malacca here, so we want to give them time to drive back. Please give a round of applause for people who drove from Malacca. We also have someone from Vietnam who flew over, so thanks a lot everyone for showing up. As per usual for the last couple sessions of the meetup, what we'll do is we'll do one combined session here where we'll do some announcements and monthly roundup, and then we will split off into 3 different sessions. So for those of you who are interested in the Scroll Malaysia session, you can stay here in this lecture theatre. For the ones who want to go to discuss public goods and Web3, you can go next door. And for those who want to go to the Blockchain 101, it's in the makerspace all the way across the courtyard where we originally wanted to start this combined session. All right, so we will just get started. So first off, we'll do some, before that, thanks for the sponsors. Etherscan for continued support of ETHKL. Sunway University and 42KL for kindly helping us to get this venue for free. And okay, moving on to the announcements for the month. Okay, I'll do this. So first up is, today is also the launch of Scroll Malaysia. For those of you who want to join, there's a Telegram group for Scroll Malaysia stuff, so you can take a user. I'll give like a few more seconds for you to do that. And, oops. Oh yeah, and for some reason it's smaller there. Some members of the community are looking to do hopefully a nice hackathon with projects from all over to come here, tentatively end of September, and potentially in a free venue as well, like Sunway University. So hint, hint. And for May activities, I think there's some pictures missing, but sorry, for April activities, we have online hackathons. For those of you who are not familiar, a bunch of ETHKL community members are regularly joining these global or online hackathons. Some of them are actually going to ETH Tokyo, I think from next week, and ETH Taipei and ETH Chiang Mai. And there are also online hackathons for anyone to join, even if you can't make it to travel overseas. So for April, we have a Chainlink Online and a DAO Global Hackathon. For those who are interested, you can talk to Kim and Wei Han over here. Yeah, please raise your hand. Okay, these 2 handsome guys at the front. We are also planning to do a half-day event in May, tentatively May the 13th. So it'll be a Saturday or a weekend, and it will be an enlarged experience of what we're doing here. So 3 tracks. For beginners, for technical people, and the non-technical people. We also have an online workshop tentatively planned for 26 April with Cartesi, who are a L2 scaling solution. And lastly, there is a Polygon DevX tour. I think they're traveling around Southeast Asia, and Malaysia's stop is on the 30th of April. Okay, yeah, so unfortunately my slides didn't kind of sync on Google. So there's not some nice photos, but for those of you who are not aware, DevCon is officially going to be held in Southeast Asia in 2024, and Malaysia is one of the potential locations. So for those of you who want to support our proposal, you can go to the DevCon forum, and there's a page for Malaysia. Later we'll share the link inside our Telegram group for people to go and go there and say some nice things about Malaysia. We also have a hacker house that is opening for the community. We want to get people in, not just people who are from overseas to stay over, but even locals who want to like stay there permanently. For students, we can provide some sort of subsidy. So if anyone's interested, talk to me or Vienna over there. Vienna, do you want to raise your hand? All right. And lastly, so we had second last. Someone from Connect who came here last weekend, and they are actively looking for an ambassador in Malaysia. So if anyone's interested, there is a link there, and we'll share that in the Telegram group later. So you can check out the page for the requirements and qualifications, and you can apply. And lastly, there is an APU Blockchain Cryptocurrency Club. Can I get Yudish to raise his hand? Yeah, okay, so everyone look at Yudish over there. They are a very active club for a local university, and students from other universities can reach out to them as well to like see if you can partner and do blockchain activities. And they are doing an event in May, 7th of May on a Saturday in Malacca. So yeah, the Malacca people can make sure to come and join as well. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for our announcements. For the monthly roundup, I'll pass it over to Nick. Please give him a round of applause.
Oh, there was another mic. For recording. Oh, okay, that mic? Yeah. My check. Okay, thank you. So for context, guys, I'm from Asia Pacific. I was from Asia Pacific University, and there never goes a day where someone says like, people from Sunway at least tell us that you guys have a university, but we have a city. So yeah, if that's the common thing y'all say. How many of you here are from Sunway University? Oh, really not many? No, some of you guys are bluffing. How many of you are from Sunway University? Then where are the rest of you from? Are you guys from different colleges and so on? Are you guys all working adults? How many of you are working adults? You have left university. Oh, actually, majority of you. Interesting. Cool, cool. So yeah, for those of you who are it's your first time coming for ETL's meetup, welcome to the first ETL, not the first ETL meetup, but if it's your first ETL meetup, welcome. And we usually start our meetups by having a sharing of news and events that have happened in the crypto space over the last month. So this is for March, and normally we go over things that have happened in March and also some things that you can take advantage of. All right, so the first thing that has happened this month is Arbitrum's airdrop. How many of you qualified for Arbitrum's airdrop? Raise your hands, guys. Upset, yes. How many of you guys have never heard of an airdrop? Or what is an airdrop? What is Arbitrum? Oh, so everyone knows? Okay, no worries. But why are there like a lot of sad faces in the crowd? Like, do you guys not qualify or something? Yeah. Yeah, so for context, if you qualify for Arbitrum's airdrop, I think the minimum was 600 Arbitrum tokens, and with $1 for one Arbitrum, you kind of got $600. Yeah, so I think for those who are interested on what are airdrops, essentially it's kind of an incentive for you to try out new things in crypto. For example, if there's a new exchange, there's a new NFT marketplace, you should try it out because not only do you learn more, there's a potential where you actually get these incentives called airdrops, where they give you a certain amount of tokens or certain compensation for trying out protocols. So for those of you who tried to claim this, did you get any trouble with it? Were your RPCs down? Were the website's foundation down and all that? Yes, yeah. So I think a lot of you went through a lot of issues trying to claim that. So, I have to click next on my own. Okay, next is stake ETH withdrawal. So how many of you here are staking Ethereum? How many of you here stake Ethereum with on your own or with Lido or with any other platforms? Not many so far, but if it's something to concern, if you hold Ether, well, essentially those who are staking Ether will be able to unlock their withdrawals in about a week. So that means about 15% of each supply will be unlocked. So there's been a lot of debate on whether this will affect the price, how this will affect the markets, and so on. If you are holding Ether or if you plan to hold Ether for the long term, you can consider looking at things like staking, where you run your own node. I think the people at APU have done a workshop on validators. Anyone attended that session? For APU's validator workshop? Anyone attended it? Okay, not so much. Okay, but we should open it up for ETL then. Okay, next. Okay, so this is an interesting bet, okay? And I need you guys to take sides, okay? You all cannot be neutral and you have to take one side of the bet. So this is between two people, two notable people in the space. The first person is Balaji Srinivasan, who is the ex-CTO of Coinbase. So if anyone's heard of Coinbase, he's the previous CTO. So it's not just some random guy on the street. He's an actual notable person. So he bets that Bitcoin will reach $1 million by June. How many of you agree to that? None of you are taking the bet. Okay. Then you're essentially on the other side where this person called, I think it's James Matlock, he bets on the other side that due to US hyperinflation will not happen by June. And if he wins that, he stands to win $1 million for that. Do you guys take the bet? How many of you would take the bet here? Yes, yes. Okay, interesting. So I think it's on the topic that the US is printing a lot of currency into the system. So I think that's why our friend Balaji decided to bet, I think $1 million that Bitcoin will reach 1 million per Bitcoin because of hyperinflation and that people think that the US dollar is no longer a safe haven and so on. So yes, this is actually live. This is actually money has been moved and someone will lose or gain $1 million. And I think there are some platforms where you can actually join this bet and you can actually fund money whether you believe that this will happen or not. Next. All right, for Windows users, if none of you know this, if any of you use Microsoft Edge, which I don't actually, how many of you use Microsoft Edge? Oh, nice, a lot of core Microsoft Edge supporters. You would have actually noticed that there is actually a crypto wallet button now. It's a bit hidden, but it exists. So essentially, Microsoft Edge or Microsoft itself is testing a crypto wallet within Edge. And you can, I think it pretty much functions like MetaMask and you have everything that you would want in a crypto wallet. But it's just interesting that one of the big technologies like Microsoft happens to be taking the step towards Web3 by enabling wallets. And what's next for Microsoft? Okay, I think this will be helpful if most of you are tech students in general, or most of you work within IT. Elon Musk has open sourced the algorithm for Twitter. So you know exactly how your tweets or how your timeline on Twitter is actually constructed now. So whenever you open up Twitter, there's a timeline where there's, I think, 1,500 posts and the whole source code has been open sourced on GitHub. So if you go next, so there's been a lot of analysis on how Twitter tweets are now ranked. And I think from the learnings, we can understand that a tweet's like count. So whenever you tweet and you wonder why you might not get so much engagement, it seems to be because your tweets like count has the biggest impact for Twitter. So if you are an influencer and you're trying to gain a big amount of followers and so on, I would say your tweet, according to the code at least, your tweet count is the biggest impact, followed by retweets, and of course things you should not do, such as posting malicious links or posting something offensive. And another big thing is images or videos. They boost Twitter a lot. So because they've open sourced the algorithm, I would say that you have a good edge now if you can study the GitHub source code, and then you can understand how Twitter ranks your tweets. And of course, Twitter had a new logo, which I think most of you noticed. Next. All right, and this is for those who trade NFTs a lot. So I think, how many of you are familiar with NFTs and you trade NFTs, I would say? I think most of you have heard of NFTs and what and so on. Have you guys used OpenSea? Yes, okay. So there are more NFT people in ETL. So actually, I think this is today. OpenSea actually launched OpenSea Pro, which technically was an NFT aggregator called GemSwap. And for those of you who are not familiar, an aggregator is something that essentially batches different prices for one single NFT to a single place. So it's kind of like if you go on Lazada and you kind of like look for a certain thing, you don't PM different people at once, and you go to like Lazada where it aggregates multiple prices. So that's the same function of OpenSea Pro. You will be able to check for the prices of NFTs across different marketplaces, such as LooksRare, Blur, and so on. So this was launched today. And if you previously used GemSwap, you can actually mint their commemorative NFT so that you can get a piece of history of them swapping and becoming OpenSea Pro. But I think for those of us who buy and sell NFTs more often, I think OpenSea Pro is a good platform because it's got a lot of cool features like it aggregates prices from multiple marketplaces like Blur and so on. It also has things, I think there's a live mint tracker, so you can buy NFTs before everyone else or find out about them before everyone else. A few other things like savings in gas, ability to buy multiple NFTs and sweep floor prices and so on. Next. All right, so, and of course, I think that's mostly our roundup for this week. Usually we have something for local projects. So if any of you are launching local projects related to crypto, we can actually feature you on our roundup. So if any of you do have local projects, you can share it to us. But if not, you can follow our ETL Twitter so that you can keep getting news that we repost and so on about the ecosystem. So of course, I appreciate the new logo of Twitter. And yeah, that's our roundup. Thanks, guys.
But actually, Nick just reminded me, we had a couple hackathon projects that joined ETH Scaling Ethereum hackathon last month. And I think we have 2 forced volunteers to go and share with 1 or 2 minutes about their project. So can I get, I think, Yudish for and Vincent and Wei Han. In whichever order, just share for up to 2 minutes what your hackathon project was. I think Vincent's hiding. Can someone drag him outside? And yeah, so for some context, this is one of the online hackathons that the committee has joined. I'm not sure what the amount was, but probably in the hundreds or thousands of US dollars. So for the students out there, if you have nothing else to do, you can kind of join hackathons, potentially win some prizes, compete with the best in the world, and get exposure to how it is to build in Web3. And we have a bunch of people who've been more experienced in the space who can help you as you go through this hackathon as well. So without further ado, Wei Han for at most 2 minutes.
Okay, hi guys. So Harif just lied. So we didn't actually win $100,000, but $100. I mean, it's still some money, but the point is not to win money, but to learn, right? That's how we consolidate ourselves. But yeah, just to quickly introduce what our team has built. So I partner with Kim, ZK, and 2 other team members for actually this hackathon that just finished, I think last Friday. So what we actually try to build is, okay, before that, who has heard of account abstraction before? Raise up your hand. Woo! There's a lot. Nice. You guys are up to trend. So what we are trying to do, and actually all of the teams are building on top of account abstraction. So for our team specifically, we built our project is a modular account abstraction wallet. So you can imagine a wallet that enables you to add feature. So for example, you want gas payment in USDC, you have this feature, you just add. You want a wallet that have multi-sig or payment in, I don't know, other crypto stuff. So we want to enable this feature where people can add, remove, and edit features for your own wallet so that users can create their own personalized wallet for themselves, right? So that's the gist of our project. And even though we didn't win a lot of money, but it's still a fun project that we have hacked together for around past 3 weeks. So yeah, pass it to you.
Yeah, so hey guys, so like what he said, we also didn't win much prizes, but I think the experiences gained was quite a lot. So I think we won about 300 USD. So we got the Scroll pool price and also the Poly base pool price. What we built was called Recurring Pay. It's basically an account abstraction wallet that allows for organizations that wants to do recurring payments. So imagine your regular like wallet like MetaMask, right, is able to do recurring payments, and we were able to I wouldn't say achieve this, but we were looking towards that part. So we kind of studied how account abstraction works and I tried to figure out, okay, how can we integrate with, say, Gelato Network? Because Gelato Network had a function where you're able to call a certain function on your smart contract to be able to do these recurring payments. So that is the gist of it, recurring pay. And we sort of wanted to make it a bit more interesting. Now, what if this wallet, it's account abstraction, and the idea is to be able to recover, let's say, your tokens in the event it gets lost, right? So we wanted to do something like social recovery. So for this purpose, we integrated with our Optimism's attestation station. So let's say you have, when you're initially setting up your account with account abstraction, you're setting up like 3 backup accounts. And for each of these backup accounts, you're actually asking them to attest that, hey, I'm going to attest for this original wallet owner that they actually lost access to the wallet, and this is the new wallet address. So we played around with that, and we somehow got it to work. And I think a lot was learned. In fact, I think in my team there was 5 members. 4 of them are actually here. I met all of them from Lepak DAO. So to know more about Lepak DAO, you can ask Kim here. So it's like a really thriving hacker community, and we'll be joining hackathons on a regular basis. Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Yudish. And Vincent's a bit shy, so we're not gonna get him to come out here to share. But his team did win the second best account abstraction prize from ZK Sync. So yeah, $1,000+. Yeah. So before we break off into the 3 different sessions, let me see. Quick check first. How many people are here for the scroll session, and how many are here because they're sort of looking for alpha on airdrops? Oh, wow. Suddenly the hands are more. Okay. So there's no such thing tonight. At least I don't think so. Yeah, so but there's a lot to learn. So please feel free to share that. Kind of 2 things before we break off. So one is that there is, as I mentioned, a hacker house which is nearby. So for anyone who wants to kind of like hang out afterwards, some sort of after party, you can talk to Vienna over there or myself here, and we can try and kind of show you guys where to go so that we can hang out afterwards. There's not that much capacity, so please not everyone reach out to us. And lastly, before we break off, I'm reminded to take a photo while everyone is here. So do we have a cameraman? Okay, Faiz. Thank you. And I guess can everyone just who are at the sides, just make sure you're gonna be included in the shot. Go inside. Do I need to do a countdown? Or? Can do a countdown. All right. 1, 2, 3. Supposed to do like a crazy pose, like 1, 2, say cheese. Another one. Last. 1, 2. Do you want to get into the photo? No. Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing that way. All right, so for those of you who are looking to join the Blockchain 101, you can go over there across the courtyard. Can I get one volunteer to like bring people there very quickly? Kim? Okay, so follow Kim over here with the blue bag and the black t-shirt. For those of you who are looking to join the public goods session, you can go next door, like literally here. And we'll give ourselves like maybe 5 minutes before we start each session. All right, see you guys in a bit. Me and
Yeah, Scroll Malaysia. Justin. Wait, send me the interviews? Yeah. Okay, I'll let you handle it. Because you say I don't want to try not to. No, you want to let the community talk. So I was introducing.
Hey guys, so GM, no GM already know, bro. Yeah. So Scroll will be here. Just last check. Scroll will be here. Public good will be right beside, and blockchain 101 will be right opposite the hall there. Yeah. Yeah, like for Scroll, for those interested in Scroll, just sit at the front, just fill in the space around here. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Let's meet you. What's your name?
YJ.
YJ.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you staying here?
No. I'm not.
Okay.
I'll send you a pass.
Oh, A?
Yeah, one double.
Want to chat? Can talk more after this? Thanks. Bye.
What is your? Oh, you know him? Say you go home today.
Last time.
Oh, last month.
You are. Yeah. Last time. No lah.
Okay lah, going forward. I didn't know that you know that. I just really all
Yeah, for me, sometimes we get a Google form to share everyone. Yeah. To see how we can arrange it. Yeah. Then we want to support local communities, local projects as well. Yeah, that's definitely something we want to do. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you going to which?
no, I just want to hear that. I don't want to hear any more tech.
Oh, yeah.
Too much tech.
Project, yeah.
I need to
See the rest. Yeah, take a share, yeah.
I thought you guys have
Yeah, see a bit. Yeah.
You by chance don't have my ID, right?
But the thing is, at the end of it, right? Can see a bit. Like playing around. Want to turn off this light? Which one? Oh, okay. No signal. Still the.
I don't know how to. For some reason, can reflect this one.
If cannot, then Google Meet here.
Google Meet.
Share screen or something. If cannot, if really cannot. This is connect to the right cable.
This is connect.
How about just pull this off?
It's a video card. It's a display.
Oh, display port. Technology. It's a thick cable. Because we need to run some code.
Yeah, just got this laptop a few months ago.
Sorry guys, some technical issues. We are trying to connect it. Anyone from Sunway here know how to deal with this? Yeah. Thanks for the guidance. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the funding system.
Maybe switch that one.
We don't know whether we got another cable.
Oh, you connected with here, right?
Because usually
Is this a MacBook?
yeah, it's a Mac.
New MacBook.
Probably it's not connected. Because it's very thick cable.
If you can get my bag, I have another HDMI.
Oh,
I carry it around just for shit like this. Okay.
Take this off. Yeah. Oh, remember to take this back. If not, you'll be a public good.
It's okay, I have one here and one more in my bag. Let's give it a try. See if it works.
没有 change right HDMI one.
Yeah, I think it works. Oh. No, leave it back here.
Ah, yeah.
I just changed the resolution.
Hey, hi guys. So welcome to Intro to Scroll and also a kickstart of Scroll Malaysia community. Nice to meet everyone. I'm Kim and this Wei Han. Yeah, so two of us we're gonna kickstart a Scroll community in Malaysia. It's a very exciting thing. But also today we have someone from Scroll to actually support us. So Justin there, the Malaysia guy, he's community manager at Scroll, and really thanks him for supporting us. Starting a community in Malaysia. Today, mainly we'll talk about slight introduction to Scroll, plus ZK Rollup, ZK EVM, or a lot of people ask, is it another L2, right? So we're going to introduce about, from rollups to ZK Rollups to ZK EVM, and lastly to Scroll. So let's start it. Yeah, did anyone heard of like L2s before? L2s, anything about this, right? Yeah, just curious, which L2 do you enjoy the most currently? Just curious. Arbitrage is a hot topic now, right? Because on airdrop, right? If it's last year, then it's optimism. Who knows next year is Scroll, right? Yeah. But yeah, I think just to get some response from you guys. Next thing. Yeah. So do you know like why L2 exists and why it's exciting? So today the topic is mainly to talk about why L2 exists, what is L2, and going to Scroll, and why we find it very interesting and exciting. And let's start here. Yeah. So I start with a meme thing because I found like in my slides there are no memes at all. So we need to start with some memes. You're in Web3, right? So if you know ZK Rollup, kind of impressed. Next, ZK VM is much more impressed. And you know about scrolls, then it's much more impressed, right? So this is basically a meme that I get online, and I edit it. You can see that I just paste a white box here. There's some H here. Yeah. So this is about what we'll talk about. Three main things: ZK Rollup, ZK VM, and Scroll. Okay, so we started with this problem, like why no Ethereum need L2? So Ethereum suffered this problem where people argue that Ethereum is not scalable itself, because Ethereum also suffer from this thing called blockchain trilemma, where it's hard to have for a blockchain to have balance between scalability, decentralization, and security. And next slide. So Ethereum is somewhere around here where it's decentralized and it's secure, but it's not scalable enough, right? So some projects which go scalable and security could be those blockchain with high block size. Those with scalability and decentralized were those multi-chain projects like Cosmos, right? So Ethereum is around there, decentralized and security. And the Ethereum Foundation was always thinking about how can we go to an extent to make it scalable. So next slide. So it just started with this thing called a rollout-centric roadmap by, who is that? Vitalik, which is Vitalik. So Vitalik is suggesting this thing called a rollout-centric roadmap. So they started this around 2020. Before this, they actually explore a few other roadmap alternatives, and at the end, they come back to this rollout-centric roadmap, and that's why we are seeing more and more L2s, which are rollups, and they are striving to scale Ethereum. So what is rollup, right? Like why rollup-centric roadmap, right? Next thing. Okay, before what is rollup? So we want to know how rollup works and why. Then we will know why it should be there. So a basic chain, like you can see the one with a blue box. In my slides is blue box, but here looks like a black box.
Yeah. So Ethereum chain is just like blocks, like just block 1, block 2, and goes continuously. So you think about like CPU is single threaded, right? It's single threaded, everything will go through to one route or one thread. It's not very scalable in some way. So they have this idea, like, hey guys, how about just kind of delegate to others to do some work for us and just report us back frequently, maybe once a month or like twice a month or something like that. So this is how basically it works. You can imagine this. Next slide. You can imagine this is like we have a ETH HQ, then we have multiple branch. This branch is open, they sell the same thing, they can do similar things, blockchain activities. And what they do is just report back a summary every month. Report a summary, what's happening. Let's say within the month, someone lost 50 ringgit, someone earned 50 ringgit. Just report back, someone lost 50 ringgit, someone earned 50 ringgit. You don't need to report like he spent $10, $5 an individual transaction for an account, but just report back a summary in some way. So in that way, you kind of delegate the work to an L2, which is a roll-up, to make sure that you can scale infinitely by getting more and more branches, and these branches report back to you frequently. Next slide. By the way, you can see on the bottom left corner there are URLs. So these are like relevant materials, and I'll share this in our Telegram group later. So do join our Telegram group. I will have a QR later in the world. Yeah. So okay. So now we know rollup and why it's there and why it's scalable. Now I think it's time to discuss. There are two main types of rollups currently in the market. So first is the optimistic rollup, which is the projects that you guys love, which is like optimism, arbitrum, right? And nothing salty, but yeah. The optimism, arbitrum, and we have ZK rollups, which is the main topic where we're talking about. They are Scroll, they are ZK Sync, they are Polygon, ZK EVM, or even they are Stucknet. I can't see a Stucknet logo, but the one with the star is a Stucknet logo. Yeah. So in these two rollups, there are a few characteristics. So optimistic rollups they have slow finality. So let's talk about finality. Finality is basically confirmation of a block. So let's say you make a transaction, how long it is to achieve finality, to final that okay, this transaction is part of the block and this block is queued to the this block is confirmed for as a next block. So we have technically slow finality. If you want to be more specific, it's 7 days finality. While for ZK Rollup, they have very fast finality and somehow immediate. Optimistic Rollup have slow withdrawal. Following a traditional breach, right? Let's say you want to breach your assets from an L2, let's say Arbitrum to L1. You want to breach your assets out, right? It usually takes 7 days because there's something called a challenge period due to the nature. But we wouldn't talk about this in detail today, as our focus is ZK Rollup. But when you have a question, you can just drop us later about optimistic rollup. I wish you can answer it. So they have slow withdrawal, while ZK Rollup have fast withdrawal. So you think about this way, why don't all of us just do ZK Rollup, right? But the thing is, it's much more technical challenging. More, MOAR, okay? It's a crypto term, okay? So it's much more technical challenging to do a ZK Rollup. Not just I'm the one saying it, but Vitalik is the one saying it. It's much more technical challenging to do that. While for optimistic rollup, it's technically less technical challenging. So these are two differences, and we'll dig deeper into ZK Rollup. So we've touched our first topic, finished our first topic about rollups. Now let's go to ZK Rollups. Okay, so let's talk about how ZK Rollup works. This is a general diagram of how it works. So you have an L1, if you have an L2, which is a ZK Rollup. So a ZK Rollup, we have something called approver. So approver is technically kind of proof these transactions are made in L2 or these events are made in L2. So a usual thing is that, let's say in L2, they have multiple block transactions and stuff. They want to report back to L1, right? Basically, why you need to report back to L1? Because it's mainly to inherit Ethereum security. So they have a thing called ZK Prover. So they get the data, and they go to a ZK Prover. The prover will submit the data, which is a data availability, and also a ZK validity proof to L1. So this is the part here, a ZK validity proof, which is unique in ZK Rollup. So after they submit to L1, right, they, like these L2s, will have a smart contract to actually verify the proof. So in this talk, we didn't talk about ZKs, right? If you're excited about ZKs, definitely we have much more events planning to discuss more about ZK. We have a lot in our Malaysia community. Some of us are very deep into ZK. Even his name is called ZK, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. To verify the proof, to make sure that the transactions are legit, and yeah, make sure the transactions are legit, and next. And next, the next thing what they do is they, after they verify, the proof is correct, it's true. What they do is they verified it and they finalize it to the block itself. So it's like this. So this is basically like a boss like how you report to your boss, right? You tell your boss, sir, I get my my report ready and the proof of my work. I work for 20 hours per day, bro. Yeah. Then your boss kind of asks like HR, is he really doing the work? Right? Yeah. Then after you verify, then okay, I'll give you a salary now, right? It's somehow like this way. In layman terms, it's easy to understand, but in technical, it's pretty technical. Why? So we'll talk about it in a while. Next slide. So let's talk about now is the problem of ZK rollups, right? So why don't everyone just do ZK rollups? Like any application change, right? The first thing is it requires devs to write circuit program, which is very, very hard. If you want to, let's say you want to write the same program in circuits versus Solidity, circuit just much more harder. It's much more constrained, less utilities and less functionalities for you to utilize, and more low level. Yeah. So programs need to be competent to circuit to generate a proof. Why? This is the nature of proof. Proof is very math driven. It's very technical and very theoretical math. I also spend a lot of time trying to understand about ZK. It's very tough, but kind of get this conclusion here where you need to have a lower language code to generate a proof. So next thing, this is problem one. And the second problem is that circuits are not composable, normal circuits. So like application-specific rollups such as Tornado Cash and ZK Money, they are written in somehow circuits. They are written in circuits in some way. So what they do is that they have this circuit to do specifics, functionalities, specific functionalities like ZK Tornado Cash, it send money confidentially and stuff. But the problem is that all this circuit doesn't interact with each other. It's more like we call it application-specific rollup. You need build for this application itself. Other than that, they can't do anything unless you write new circuits, right? So these are two problems. First thing is about it's hard to write. It's technically challenging for developers to do this. And the second thing is about they are not composable. Yeah. So here comes next thing. Sorry. Here comes ZK VM. Okay. I'm the one that's high, right? Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. I just want to share my enthusiasm about this with everyone. So here comes ZK EVM, a subset of ZK Rollup, a general purpose ZK Rollup, which are EVM compatible. So we talk about EVM compatible in the world. So here's how it looks like. So some big brains guys say, hey guys, let's don't do like application specific rollup anymore, right? You can do one basic functionalities. Not every developer can contribute to the ecosystem itself or L2 itself. Let's do something like this where we use the same ZK Rollup initiative, like the ZK Rollup method, or we make it EVM compatible. And this is the challenging part. You want to create a general purpose ZK Rollup which are EVM compatible. So what is EVM compatible means that you can basically inherit the Ethereum virtual machine state where you can write Solidity contracts, right? So the first problem that it solves is that first we mentioned, right, it's very hard to write circuit contract, very hard to write circuits. Now developers can just write Solidity contracts, right? And submit to a ZK rollups, to a ZK EVM, which is Scroll, for example. So it's much more friendly for developers. And second thing is that they are composable as well, because it's under a general purpose ZK rollup, a general ZK rollup itself, not application specific rollups. It's just one rollup, everyone can just submit their Solidity code, which is the same code technically. We'll do a demo later. The same code technically with what the Solidity code they write in L1s. And submit it, the ZK EVM, and they're composable. It's easy for developers to do it. Next. So now we talk about ZK EVM, right? I think before we talk about Scroll, we need to probably understand one thing, which is what are the type of ZK EVM? Because in ZK EVM, there are many types, but I kind of conclude into 4 types. So first, it's a fully Ethereum equivalent. You can see it's kind of small, but basically is totally equivalent as Ethereum. The second one is fully EVM equivalent. And third one is fully equivalent, but except the gas cost part.
and the third, there's 2.5, sorry, and the third one is almost EVM equivalent. A few examples of almost EVM equivalent is like Polygon ZK EVM. It's almost EVM equivalent. It's not fully. And the last one is high-level EVM equivalent. High EVM equivalent projects such as ZK Sync is a high EVM equivalent. We can talk about it, why it is high level EVM equivalent. So you can know like, from the left, like the y-axis is compatibility. The lower the number, the more compatible it is with Ethereum. While the x-axis is performance, right? The more non-compatible it is, the more performant it is theoretically. Yeah. So now I will just share about what Scroll position is in this ZK Rollup scene, ZK EVM scene. Yeah. So currently Scroll is here. Scroll is wanting to build a full EVM equivalent ZK EVM, where basically what they do is accept modify, basically changing they modify some EVM only. They modify EVM only by changing the gas cost. Others are almost the same, equivalent as EVM. And why is here, right? The argument it has is that we want to be as equivalent as EVM as possible, but like one or two is very hard to achieve and it's not performant. So they find a kind of like a middle ground here to make sure we are EVM compatible, which is an EVM equivalent, not compatible, which is a main point. Which is a main point here, and still performant enough. Yeah. But the goal here is to get next slide. But the goal here is to get type 2 for Scroll. They started from 2.5. They're continuing developing it to make sure that to see whether we can achieve type 2 EVM equivalent. Yeah. So next, it's time to Scroll. We have Wei Han here to share more about Scroll, and we have a demo as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. And I believe that's what he did a very good introduction on ZK EVM, ZK Rollup, and Rollup, not ZK part because ZK is too lengthy and too messy. So before I continue with Scroll, I just want to get a hand, like, you understand what he just said? Okay, not 50-50. Okay. Later we can ask more questions. But yeah, I think we understand it is somewhat a hard topic, and we don't expect everyone to understand it right away, especially if you are new to this topic. But I just want to say, as someone who is interested in this space, this is really powerful. So yeah, without further ado, let's see how we can scroll together. Yeah, next slide. So yeah, to officially or to properly introduce what is Scroll. Scroll basically, as you can see for the big words there, is a native ZK EVM scaling solution for Ethereum. Or in other words, Scroll is a ZK EVM based ZK Rollup on Ethereum that enables native compatibility for existing Ethereum application and tools, which is like what Kim just mentioned is type 2.5 right now, might try to be type 2 later on. Or in other words, to put it very simply, the developer experience that for me and as an example, if I were to develop on Scroll, it's the same as I were to be developing on Ethereum, right? So next slide. So talking about Scroll position again, right? Though if I look at the picture here, the one that is closer to the right is the one that's more compatible with Ethereum. As you can compare with like Subnet, ZK Sync, Polygon, Hermes, right? Scroll is the most compatible as compared to the rest to Ethereum because it's bytecode compatible, right? So we're not going to talk more about the other ones, but I just want to know that based on this diagram, Scroll is the most compatible as of right now. Next. Okay, so why Scroll, right? Let's talk more about from a developer's perspective. If you look at the code here, right, it's hardhat.config.js, right, or TS, don't remember, but yeah. So you can see the only difference that you need to do is literally changing goalie to Scroll. Appreciate URL. That's it. What else do you need to do? What else? Nothing, right? Next slide. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? with the sequencer on layer 2, right? Just simplifying things. Then, now that you have layer 2, let's look at the next one. Now it's layer 2 plus rollup, which what Kim also mentioned just now. In a layer 2 rollup, you have a rollup contract that L2 will get a summary of these transactions and send it to the rollup contract. But wait, where's the ZK part? Next slide. This is where the ZK EVM comes. ZK EVM is basically just a prover, right? Where the sequencer, it gets all the transaction, it executes them, you send the transaction trace to the prover and say that, okay, prover, here's the transaction trace. I'm going to need you to generate a proof for me. So the prover will generate a proof, which is very complicated. I'm not going to talk about that here right now. You will generate a proof, then will send it back to the sequencer. Then the sequencer will send the proof to the raw contract, and the raw contract will verify that, okay, this summary is correct, right? So this is layer 2 plus rollup plus ZK EVM. But wait, there's more. Who runs sequencer and who runs prover? Who runs it on Scroll? Definitely it's Scroll team right now because they are the one that is building this. But if Scroll team is building this, can't they just run coolers? You never know, right? So the next step for Scroll, sorry Justin, no offense. I'm just giving an example here. But yeah, the next step for this phase, for this part, is actually also on Scroll roadmap, but yeah, is decentralization. Decentralizing the prover part to, instead of having just one single prover by Scroll, you're going to have multiple provers. Anyone can join as a prover, anyone can be part of the proving network and hence get some fees. Maybe there's MBV, I don't know, but yeah. So that we decentralize the prover. How about the sequencer? It's the same thing as well. Next slide. We also can decentralize the sequencer. So in this full picture, we might get the end game for Scroll if they don't change the architecture. So yeah, but yeah, it's still new. I mean, it's still kind of new for Scroll right now. So it's technically, we don't have this decentralization right now for Scroll, but it will come later on, right? So next we'll talk more about the roadmap. So yeah, Scroll just launched their alpha testnet. You can see that I deploy it. I check it's correct on the Explorer, so it's working. The next step is to deploy it on mainnet. Then after that, the decentralization comes, right? Decentralizing the prover network and also the sequencers. So yeah, this is the roadmap, and don't ask me when token because I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Scroll. Next slide. So just a summary for Scroll for today. So it's a lot of information, but let me just summarize into this. Scroll basically wants to achieve three things. First one is scalability as a ZK Rollup, L2 ZK Rollup to increase transaction throughput. Secondly, EVM equivalent or trying to be type 2, even though it currently is type 2.5. So providing the same user and developer experience compared to Ethereum. And lastly, Ethereum alignment. Scroll, I believe, they are building it open source and they are building it with Ethereum Foundation and the community itself. So it's a very strong community, and me personally, I really love it. So yeah, thank you so much, and I think I'll pass it back to Kim for more information. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks Wei-Han for talking about Scroll architecture, doing an exciting demo. From a developer perspective, it's just getting into ZKVM. It's the same as what you do for Solidity contract and the Ethereum as well. It's the same. And to achieve this level of experience, there's just a lot of hard work behind, to understand ZK, for them to understand ZK, build circuits, and write the circuits that is compatible enough where it can be ZK EVM equivalent. It's a very challenging thing. Writing circuits is very technical. It's a lot of arithmetic, less functional than the Solidity code that we have. So huge shout out to them, and we are here to announce that we're gonna kickstart a Scroll Malaysia team. Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah. So initially we actually want to keep the announcement part here, but since everyone already knows in some way, so we're gonna keep the Scroll Malaysia community. We have a lot of plans on how we can educate the Malaysian community about Scroll, about ZK VM, about ZK as well. So next slide. So okay, I think to share myself on why I'm aligned with Scroll, and I really enjoy the Scroll itself. I think the first thing is we believe in ZK rollouts, but still many lacking in the community. I think a lot of people ask me like, why is ZK right? Why is ZK why is ZK is important in why is ZK is aligned in the why ZK is applicable in the blockchain space and how it works and like what is rollup and why we need another L2 or why ZK is exciting. And I read through these things and I really think that probably I try to share this knowledge and also getting everyone who are interested together to learn together, to share together and build something together as well, right? So this is something that we align with, so we should think of starting with kickstart the Scroll community here. And second thing, I think is something special about Scroll, at least for myself, is the vision. So citations there, but I think the first thing is about developing through community-driven approach. All their code is open source. Even it's on beta alpha state, it's open source, it's built on open to the community. Community can just open a PR, MR to further improve it. And everyone can know what they are doing. And that's really the approach different from other L2s. And for the decentralized matters across every layer, L1 is decentralized, right? We mentioned about the blockchain dilemma where Ethereum suffers from scalability, but it's secure and decentralized. To extend scalability, we have L2s, right? Which is ZK Rollup, specifically ZK or Scroll. But L2s also have some issues, and when he first mentioned, if we didn't decentralize, we didn't design to be decentralized enough, like decentralize the sequencer, decentralize the prover, it will suffer from centralization as well. So for them, decentralized always matter on every layer, and I really enjoyed it. I really think that it's very good value for L2 itself to strictly align with Ethereum. And last thing, I think one part which really strikes is that don't only build for Scroll, also build for Ethereum, and they believe in that. They invest in infrastructure to work together. Sorry, you don't want to let me speak, is it? Yeah, they also work together with like the PSC team, which is the private and scaling team, and Ethereum to co-build circuits, ZK circuits, and kickstart this together. And good for Ethereum, good for Scroll, good for all of us. Yeah, and next, I can talk about what Scroll Malaysia will be doing, some of our vision. And so 4 main parts. First thing is about meetups. I think as a local community here, we really want to drive meetups to let everyone in the community be able to meet each other, discuss in real life. Is sometimes definitely different from online, and to grow the community even better, like how IFKL is doing now, right? And we'll also be supporting IFKL as well. We actually, technically, both of us are part of IFKL, part of IFKL contributor as well, and we want to extend this to the L2 communities and Rollup or Scroll specifically. So we will try. We are trying to have guests, table talks about L2s, rollups, smart contracts, ZK, etc. Next, we try to have workshops, and we want to educate community members on L2s, or even not just L2s as well, smart contracts, right? Smart contract works on Scroll as well. Anything about workshops, we'll try to organize some of the workshops based on community demands and what we think is important to share with everyone. Next thing is about writing, because we always figure this out is that sometimes not everyone are very interested in developing, writing code, for example. I think writing is another part, right? Writing education materials is so part of growing the community. You don't just contribute to the community or the Ethereum space code, right? There are people who write code, but there should be people who educate as well. To write, educate, to share knowledge, and write in an easy manner or anything. So we will prepare a platform to let everyone to share their learnings. As a platform for everyone to share writings and learnings to the community. And last thing is hackathons and projects. We'll work closely with IFKL to see how we can further get this going, right? Next, I think last thing is about the Scroll Malaysia Telegram and Scroll Malaysia Twitter. So we have Twitter and Telegram. Just get in the Telegram. I'll share the slides later. And we have more updates there. Talk about any questions that you have, just drop it there. We'll try to answer, and so we will get the Scroll people to join the group. If you have any questions, we'll see whether they can answer. We'll get them to help you out with that. Yeah. So local community, we're gonna start here, and today the Kickstarter event we share about ZK rollups, ZK EVM, Scroll, and that's all. Thank you. Yeah, probably Justin, probably want to share anything here, Justin? Just
Pretty much everything he said was pretty much the developer experience. Okay, good. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah, also thanks just for supporting us run events, sharing the materials, learning materials for us as well, so that we can consolidate our knowledge. And yeah, leave the stage for anyone who have any questions about our what we discussed today. Also, anything regarding give me a sec, yeah.
Hello. Thanks, Tim. So if I read correctly on Scroll, they use ZK Smart, right, as the tool, sorry, the system. And ZK Smart, if I, with my very limited knowledge of zero knowledge group, it has a verifier, approval, and a trusted setup. So the trusted setup, if let's say it's, can you scroll back to the architecture, the one, so yeah, where would it be if this trusted setup, where would it sit in this diagram? Makes sense.
There's a mic there as well. Yeah, yeah.
I think is your question about decentralizing entire sequence, or you mean more on the structured setup of ZK books? Unfortunately, I'm not a master for ZK books, so I can't answer you that. But I think it's still a community sharing. So does anyone know more about ZKP? You can share more about the trusted setup process. Maybe Justin want to share about how does it work, or anyone. Because we are all learning here together. Anyone?
Yeah, sorry, unfortunately, I'll try our best to learn more about that and share more with you. But yeah, definitely just to share about ZK Snark and ZK Snark, the two differences. But basically, ZK Snark have this thing called trusted setup. So that's why you know, like the KZG campaign, which is basically a place for basically kind of like it's a place for setting up trusted setup lah. Yeah, but we didn't know as well. But maybe something to learn for ourselves, right? Then we are not expert, but thanks for the questions. Yeah. Anyone? Any questions?
Hi, just asking from purely a solidity developer's point of perspective, right? You did mention that, I think you did mention that ZK Sync is just at level 4, which is high level EVM equivalent, right? I think that one is ZK Sync era you are talking about. So what is the difference on from developer perspective? Let's say if I were to deploy a smart contract to ZK Sync era using hard hat, I think the process is almost the same, right? Or did I miss anything here?
Okay, good question. So get back here. So what you mentioned is, sorry, I think I make a typo in the slides. 4 should be highly EVM compatible. Yeah, it's highly EVM compatible. So I think first thing is to mention, right? Sorry, I think is to discuss the difference between EVM compatible and EVM equivalent. EVM compatible is basically they are able to process opcodes, which one you can understand. They are identical to EVM. They are able to generate the opcodes based on the ZK Rollup itself. EVM, yeah, and if it's high level EVM equivalent, which is most of the opcode are generatable by them. Most of them are generated by them. So we wouldn't see that difference. But in terms of Ethereum, they will see the difference in some way. While for EVM equivalent, is technically they should be able to generate all the opcodes that generate the opcodes where same as EVM, which is Ethereum itself, the Ethereum virtual machine. They are able to generate all of the same opcodes and process similarly as how Ethereum will process the same transactions, contract, anything. Technically, like the same trace code, all this different stuff in technical level. Okay, so we mentioned about ZK Sync era is type 4, right? ZK Sync era is type 4 while Scroll is type 2.5. Okay, so what's the difference in the developer perspective? First thing, if you are deploying a normal smart contract, which doesn't touch some of the lesser common opcodes, it will be the same. And it will be the same. You can still deploy it, use the same code, but ZK Sync era is slightly tricky a bit, because ZK Sync era they have their own set of architecture, where, for example, they have account abstraction built in, where when a normal Ethereum normal EVM wouldn't have that. So they have customization there. So it might be different as well, depends on the chain itself. So basically that's the thing.
most of the things Scroll or even optimism doesn't work on CKC era because CKC era already have that built in their system and they couldn't accept and compatible to that. So that's the cases, like a few occasions where it wouldn't be the same as Ethereum. So it's high level EVM compatible. Yeah.
Just wanted to share as well because for my previous hackathon, I also deployed on both ZK Sync era and also on Scroll. From a developer perspective, especially from a Solidity point of view, like what I mentioned just now, right? Scroll is just changing your RPC URL. But for ZK Sync era, you can't do that. You can't just change your RPC URL to ZK Sync era and just expect everything to work fine. Yeah. I think for my experience at that time, I had to use ZK Sync era's tool, which is also written in also in Solidity, but they have own set of own tools. And like what Kim mentioned, account abstraction is built in. So yes, you can use the same logic that you have built for Ethereum smart contract into ZK Sync era because they are somewhat similar, but you can't just plug and play. I think that's the main difference that I had as a developer. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the cases, which is yeah. Any questions? Just curious. Yes.
I guess from the developer getting started, that was quite straightforward and quite simple. But yeah, they all have different performance measurements with all different CKPMs, right? At what point does that become a differentiating factor? Or is there, you see some applications are better deployed at different CK layer 2? And because I think one of the important things is to be able to port your smart contract functionality to a layer 2 ready to a CK layer 2, right? So is there still a reason for there to be multiple of these choices? At what point does the performance differences between the speed of tools and things like that become a differentiating factor?
Okay, so difference of the performance will be different. So basically your question is that for ZK rollups, we have different performance, what will be the point of differentiating factor, right? Yeah, so let's talk about this. Like we have Starknet, right, which is non-EVM compatible, which is ZK rollup, which is non-EVM compatible at all. You need to write kernel, right? They argue that they will have better proof time. So let's take that as technically the most performant ZK rollup, which claims now. On the other end, let's say Scroll, which is EVM equivalent. Okay, so in this sense, right, it depends on the application. ZK, what Scroll provides is security, not security in some way, security which is same as the EVM architecture that you have. Let's say you deploy on Ethereum, and your application requires security measures, and you use a lot of like lists of codes which require EVM, fully EVM compatible. So that's the choice for you. While let's say proving time and performance is not important for you guys. For example, you are not a game, you are like a normal different projects. Sufficient performance already enough. Let's say you want to build a game, you need to be more performant, and you want to build on an L2 specifically only, and you can select ZK VM, let's say ZK VM or ZK Rollup, which are more performant and cater to for the specific needs. So even for ZK VMs, right, they are branded different places for different use cases as well. For example, recently, Immutable released Immutable ZK VM, which is based on Polygon ZK VM. But what they want to cater for is performance and for games specifically, because games require performance and less security in some way. So that's what we want to achieve. You want performance, then you use that, but probably sacrifice certain level of compatibility. Then you want to be secure, you want to be compatible, you can select something like Scroll. I believe that now is the boom for the L2s or rollups where you should have as many rollups to try to innovate in different ways, and winners will be there, and and for people who have different use case, you will need different needs. We shouldn't have one L2s for ZK VM only, because it lacks of innovations for that specific field.
Yeah, I think I can just share about this article. Actually, you can follow my Twitter because I posted a summary of this article. I'm just joking. Shameless plug, by the way. Okay, come later to me for my Twitter account. I'm just joking. But yeah, I think regarding that question, I think it's a question of will there be like a single winner in the ZK VM space? And This is a Vitalis article that just published like 6 days ago. So I think one point that I perhaps can answer your question is from the point where he talks about basically this article talks about how ZK EVM can be used to verify L1s in the future, by making proof so small that everyone can run their own node in their phone or like yeah. So there's one part where basically Vitaly talks about want to start verify the layer 1 and by using ZK EVM, and there are 3 options for ZK EVM, right? Single ZK EVM, which is one single ZK EVM dominates all, which is not possible, right? Or it's not ideal. Or closed multi ZK EVM, where you have a set of agreed ZK EVMs, you have a consensus layer on top of it, and then people just have like majority of us like it's just like a normal blockchain, but just with like ZK EVM with some consensus. And the third one is basically open multi ZK EVM. So this is the part where different what you mentioned, different clients have different ZK EVM implementations, meaning that you are running different clients, but each of you can have different ways of implementing your own ZKM or getting your own proof, right? So it's quite a long article. I mean, actually not that long, but I think he talks about how this will benefit the Ethereum ecosystem as a whole for this multi-client architecture. So yeah, but in short, there won't be one single winner in the end. There can be different ZK EVM for different purposes, but I think ultimately there will be many different implementations that can be compatible with whatever clients that you're running. So I think do read through this article. I do recommend it. Yeah. So that's my answer.
Yeah, guys, any more questions from the committee? Yeah, that's great. Anything about Scroll Malaysia community? And I think probably can put back the QR. Yeah, in case anyone to join the committee here, we will definitely happy to have you ask any questions that you have in the group. Any question you have, we'll try to see any committee members will able to answers. Also help you guys help everyone up. And this is the purpose of community where everyone can help each other and learn together, grow together. I think that's all from us. I think we can just do a connect section. I think what question you want to talk to anyone, we just do a quiz session. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I did it.
Hey guys, there are still some food outside. Okay, that's food and drinks outside. Okay, that's go there and get some food.
Volume, yeah, like it's about making high throughput. I mean, it's not easy for it. So, I'm not sure.